Morning, Carol.
Glad you're here with us. You were also backed by the Tea Party. Is Richard Lugar right?
Well, first of all, I've got a great deal of respect for Richard Lugar, certainly inside the conference. When he's spoken up, he certainly is a man that's got, very serious viewpoints and certainly somebody to be listened to and respected. But, the voters of Indiana decided to go a different direction. I'm certainly looking forward to serving with Richard Murdoch as well.
So, a lot of people who, of course, didn't vote for Richard Murdoch, and I realize what you said is completely true, but is compromise dead in Washington? Is that a dirty word still?
Well, listen, I think we all recognize that we have very serious problems in this nation, and I think so many Americans are just disappointed at the lack of progress of this administration. But, neither side is going to go away, so in the end, we're going to have to figure out how to work with each other. But I think one of the things that prompts that compromise, if you want to call it, is the signals that the voters send. And in 2010, I think the voters sent a very clear signal to get our debt and deficit under control, our fiscal house in order, and Washington hasn't done that. So my guess is in 2012, the voters will again send a signal. It's time to get serious about the fact that we're burdening our children and grandchildren with this just mountain of debt. And let's start actually working toward a solution. I think the politicians here in Washington, the elected officials, will get that signal, and I think we will work together.
Well, see, here's the thing. I mean, Mr. Murdoch ran in Indiana on a no-compromise platform, let's say. Compromise is a dirty word to him. We're going to go to Washington, and we're going to get things done. The nation at large, though, voters hate partisanship. They want compromise. So you see the weird thing going on here? Like, you want to please your constituents. You go to Congress. You serve your constituents, and then nothing really happens.
Well, Carol, if you're going to work with somebody, you have to have somebody put their plan on a piece of paper and put that on the table. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the president now has produced 4 budgets, and he's never made any proposal to solve Social Security, to save Social Security or Medicare. His last year's budget lost in the Senate 0 to 97. Not a member of his own party voted for it. And now this year in the House of Representatives, his current budget lost 0 to 414. So listen, I came here to work with anybody who is willing to acknowledge the problem and put forward real solutions. But when the president can't even figure out how to compromise with members of his own party to get a vote for his budgets, and then when the United States Senate refuses to pass a budget. And again, the Senate is controlled by Senator Harry Reid and the Democrats. They haven't passed a budget now for over 3 years because they don't want to be held accountable. So the Republicans are willing to be held accountable. We've put and passed a budget in the House, but the Democrats haven't. And the president's budget was so unserious he couldn't even get a vote from his own party.
Right,
I'm willing to work with
Democrats would say that the Republican budget is partisan too. I mean, let's just be fair about this. I think that many in America are looking at lawmakers right now and saying, oh, they're just sitting there waiting for the presidential election to be over while our economy moves sluggishly along, and they're not doing anything.
But Carol, it's an important point. The House did do something. They passed a budget. Partisan or not, they passed one.
But it was partisan. There's no compromise in there.
Okay, where's the budget from the Senate? And by the way, how partisan was the president's when he was the only one that supported it? Not even a member of his own party supported it. I would call that highly partisan. So again, until the other side puts a plan on the table, and the American people can look at it and hold them accountable, there's nobody to really work with. And I think that's a very important point. Listen, I came here because I fear the direction this country is going, the debt we're putting on our children and grandchildren. I'm willing to work with anybody that is willing to seriously, acknowledge the problem and work toward real solutions. The other side hasn't put forward a serious solution yet.
Okay, so will we expect to see any big piece of legislation being passed before the presidential election?
Well, my approach in business and my approach here is let's first figure out what we agree on. And I really do believe that we agree that we want to see a prosperous America. We want to make sure that every American has an opportunity to build a good life. No, listen, I'm willing to do it, but the other side has got to come and put a plan on the table. They should pass a budget. If the Senate passed a budget, then it would go to conference, and then there'd be an opportunity to compromise and hammer a deal out so that the financial markets would take a look at America and go, hey, they're finally serious about this. But until the Senate Democrats pass a budget, and Carol, they have enough votes in committee, they have enough votes to pass a budget. They should do that. You should be asking Senator Harry Reid, why doesn't he pass a budget? They've got 53 senators. They only need 51 votes. They got to first compromise with themselves to come up with a plan to put on the table so the American people see what their plan is to stabilize the debt and deficit.
I understand. Senator Johnson, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Enjoy it. Have a good day.
You too. This morning, the Postal